Hello all, this is Damini, co-founder of VMake Scholars. Welcome to LearnFlix Season 2. I wanted to start this season with a hot topic today. This is primarily for the students who are looking to study in the US or those of you who were considering international lenders for taking an education loan like Prodigy Finance. Yes, I agree the international lenders looks very lucrative option because their interest rate seems to be lower than the other options in India. I agree there are advantages of international lenders, the highlight being their comfortable loan process. But the question is at what cost this comfort is coming to you. So in this episode, we are going to discuss the exact costing and the differences between Indian lenders and international lenders. It is going to be an extremely useful video. So let's start, but before that, if you're liking our videos or finding it informative, then please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the button below so that you can be notified whenever we publish a new video, which is gonna be on 2nd and 4th Sunday of every month. Let's start. I had made two videos in LearnFlix Season 1 to elaborate the differences between the Indian lenders and the foreign lenders. I have put both the links in the video description. Those videos are a must watch for anyone who is considering international lenders. So in brief, I discussed 5 different points. So I won't repeat that here because you should watch those videos. But the key points were, number 1 was processing fee, wherein I clearly mentioned that Indian lenders, Indian government banks charges you 0 to maximum 10,000 rupees as processing fee. On the other side, Indian private banks charges you 1 to 1.5% on the loan amount. But international lenders like Prodigy Finance charges you 4% processing fee, which means if you're going for a 40 lakhs loan, you're going to end up paying 1.6 lakhs as processing fee, which you may not notice because they add that to the loan amount. The second one is the benefit you get under Section 80E of income tax, which can reduce your interest rate by 2 to 3%. Again, you get this benefit only if you're taking your loan from an Indian lender, not from an international lender. How much income tax benefit you can get for your loan, you can calculate that using a tax rebate calculator, which is linked above. The third point is that there are some subsidies of Indian government for minority and for students from SC, ST, OBC, EBC. These subsidies waives off your moratorium period interest rate. Again, you are eligible to apply for these subsidies only if you have taken your loan from an Indian bank, not from an international lender. The link to my video on government bank subsidies can be found above. The last and the most important point is the currency fluctuations. This point changes the entire metrics of comparison. Let me tell you what it means. So we all know INR had been depreciating in contrast to USD, but how much? So recently when I was researching, I found last 40 years INR USD data comparison on RBI website. So you can also check it here on RBI website. The link I have put it in the description. So here you will be able to see from 1978 onwards US dollar data up to 2017. So when I analyzed this data, I found out that INR had been depreciating consistently at a rate of 5% per annum, which means the dollar rate which you see today will be 5% higher a year later. So for example, if dollar is 70 rupees today, it will be 73.5 rupees a year later. Yeah. So this becomes the major comparison point when we are comparing a dollar or a USD loan with an INR loan. So last year when I published those 2 videos of INR USD loan comparison as part of LearnFlix Season 1, a lot of people in the comment section asked how can they calculate the exact difference it makes to them in terms of money. So at VMake Scholars, we have designed this very interesting calculator which can tell you the exact difference in terms of money. So let me take you through that. So this is the link to the USD INR calculator, which I have put it in the description as well so that you can also use this calculator. So this calculator will calculate the exact difference you will make in a USD loan versus an Indian education loan. So let me start using it by putting my parameters. So let's say if I'm taking a 50,000 dollars loan, which I think everyone goes for minimum that amount, And the current dollar rate, I just checked it, it is 73.61. So you can see, as per current rate, if I would have taken loan from an Indian bank instead of USD, it will come to 36,80,000. Yeah. So now let's say I'm going for a 24 months master's degree. I have put here the processing fee, which is 4% in case of USD lenders. I just gave you the example of Prodigy. And it is 10,000 rupees in Indian government banks maximum. And 1% is the average processing fee in case of NBFCs and private banks. So you can also change it if you want to. I have put the interest rate here. So for USD loans, I have seen the average people getting is 9.5%. That I have put it here. The Indian public bank, I have put 9, even though that is on the higher end, because a lot of government banks offer you like 8.2, 8.3% also. For the NBFC and private banks, I have put here 11%, which is the average I have seen. So let's say how many years I'll take to repay this loan. Let me put it 7 years, because I have seen generally people pay back in 84 months. Next point is forex charges, which you can see is showing as 0% for USD loan, but it is showing 2% for both the Indian options, because I have put here both ways. So when you're sending the money from India to US, when you're paying your fees, and that time you'll incur 1%, and when you're sending the money back home after you're earning in the US and you're trying to repay your Indian loan, you'll again incur 1% forex charges. So that's why I have put here 2% for either options. You will not incur more than 1% each way, definitely. Last is loan insurance. So loan insurance is not there in case of USD lenders. Even in case of government banks, it is not mandatory. But when it comes to private banks and NBFCs, they charge you somewhere around 2% of the loan amount as loan insurance. So all those costs are included. And finally, you can see that if I take a US dollar loan of 50,000, after 2 years of course, then 6 months of moratorium, and then 7 years, right? So 9.5 years later, I would end up paying totally $88,000. Similarly, when I have taken a 36 lakhs loan from a government bank, I will end up paying 62 lakhs if it is a government bank and 70 lakhs if it is a Indian private bank or NBFC. Now, there are two assumptions which are considered here. Number one is that all these costs is little bit on the higher end. Reason being, we have assumed that you are taking that 50,000 or 36 lakhs at the start of your course. So we have not assumed it to be semester wise, which means the actual repayable amount will definitely be lower than the figures I'm showing you here when you calculate it for you using our EMI calculator. Yeah, so now you might be thinking that this is $88,000 as on today. If you take if you convert it online, that is only about 65 lakh rupees, right? So why have they put 88 lakhs? Now this is where the entire mystery is. So let me take it down and show you how I came to that number. So for that $88,000 loan, your average EMI will be 1,052 rupees approximately. Now, if instead of paying that EMI to the USD lender, if I would have been sending that money back home, I would be, so 2.5 years later, my dollar is going to be 83 rupees. It is 73 today, but 2.5 years later at a 5% appreciation every year, it is going to be 83. So at that time, if I would send this $1,052 back home, my parents will receive 88,000 rupees. Yeah. Now, at a 5% appreciation, you can see 13 months later, my dollar is going to be 88,000. So instead of 88,000 rupees, I will be sending 92,000 back home. Similarly, if you keep scrolling down, you will see at the end of 7 years, which is on 84th month, my dollar is actually going to be 118 rupees. Considering 5% appreciation every year, not more. Yeah. So at that time, if I'm sending $1,052 back home, my parents are going to receive 1,24,000. Yeah. So it is not going to be same. We started with 88,000, but eventually my the money which I'm sending back home is going to be much higher. So that's where the comparison is clear. That $88,000, if I would have sent back home, my parents would have received 88 lakh rupees over 7 years when I'm repaying the loan. So that's how the difference is calculated. This is how this 88 lakhs come. Now if I would have sent that 88 lakhs back home instead of paying to a USD lender, my parents would have easily cleared my government bank loan in 62 lakh rupees and saved 26 lakh rupees. Or if I would have taken from an Indian private bank or an NBFC, they would have cleared my loan using 70 lakhs out of my 88 lakhs and saved 17 lakh rupees. You got it? How the difference comes up to be. And you know what? I haven't even considered the income tax section 80E benefit or the benefit you get because of government subsidies, which is definitely 2 to 3 lakhs. Yeah. So minimum to minimum, you'll end up saving 20 lakh rupees even if you're taking from an Indian private bank or NBFC compared to a USD loan. Yeah. So I hope it is clear. Now this is the situation if you're earning in the US and sending money back home. You know, if unfortunately you have to leave your job in the US and come back home, believe me, you will never be able to close this ever increasing dollar loan in your, maybe in another 5-10 years extra also. So now you know how much difference it makes in terms of money. See, other than the fact that this USD loan option is definitely way more expensive, let me tell you, I'm not against these international lenders. I truly believe that, they are a dream savior for those who do not have a co-applicant as well as a collateral. Because if you have either a collateral or a co-applicant, your loan is definitely possible in India. But the situation comes when you don't have either of that, that's when international lenders are your only option. So a few students who end up going to international lenders, they really highlight the service element. The process is fully online and all, and which is something, I cannot deny, because I definitely agree the process is smooth. So I was really proud of these international lenders until I found something when I was researching online for this video. Let me show you that. So I found this YouTube comment recently, of course not on our video. So this student Nitesh Mistry writes, Prodigy is good initially, but in this unprecedented situation of COVID-19, it is not helping much. I'm pursuing my MS in the US. My summer internship and the on-campus job got cancelled due to lockdown. I requested $3K from Prodigy to cover my summer expense, but they redirected me to Stilt, who they have partnered to provide up to $15,000 personal loan. I applied for $3,000 on Stilt and I got an offer for $1,000 at 16% interest rate. And repayment starting from June 2020. This is way too much in this situation. Other loan providers from India are helping students financially, but Prodigy is not. I already paid 1/4 of my amount taken while working on campus. Anyhow, Prodigy is gonna charge the interest rate on the amount I'm asking for. So this is definitely true actually. A lot of Indian banks are giving pop-up loans, even the government banks and the private banks. But I came to know that Prodigy is not helping these students. And then there is another review from Adve, which says that Prodigy always highlights that you get 100% loan and all. But even after getting admit, he ended up getting only 40% of his cost of education. So that is again written by one more student, the same review, that he could not get 100% coverage. So now that's again something which Prodigy highlights a lot, when it comes to their comparison with Indian banks, but they actually don't give you 100%. So finally, to conclude, the calculator already shows you how expensive these international lenders are compared to Indian banks or NBFCs. So if you're eligible for an Indian bank or NBFC, then that should always be your first choice. And to all those millennials who keep talking about the service element, that government banks are this, government banks are that, let me tell you, the 26 lakhs difference, which I showed you in the example calculation, is gonna make you work your ass off for 1 to 2 years to save that kind of money. So the service element is what you are paying for eventually. That's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you appreciate the information which we are providing you, then please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to get regular updates. If you like this video, then please share it with your friends and colleagues who might be looking for an education loan. See you in my next video. Bye-bye for now.
Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon to never miss any updates from us.